Hi everyone, I'm Risha, and this is my second week reflection for the Peaceful Warrior immersion. So, I think the most important thing for me that kind of happened this week, or that kind of came up this week, was the emphasis we put on the yoga practice we've been doing in the morning. So, in the morning, we've been doing yoga for like 20 to 30 minutes, I think. And last week we did it, but we didn't have a lot of time to really reflect on it or talk about it. And for me, I really like the fact that we talked about yoga this week and that it got a lot harder this week. So I definitely found the yoga pretty challenging. It was pretty intense. There was a lot of there was a lot of movement that was meant to strengthen arms and pretty much your whole body. And I'm pretty flexible, so I went into it assuming like, yeah, it'll be fine. But I am not the strongest, so it was pretty hard, but I kind of love the way though that I went in with this idea like, oh yeah, I'm flexible. I'm gonna be good at yoga, whatever, it's gonna be easy. And then it totally was different. It was really hard. I felt totally weak so much of it because it was really hard. But I kind of love that, seeing that contrast again, because again, as I talked about in my past reflection, being able to see that and feel that experience is really rewarding to me. And another really important thing about yoga is I thought it was funny because, or not funny, I thought it was interesting that when we think of yoga, we associate it with beauty and grace, but not a lot of people associate yoga with strength and power. And I think that as we saw Mr. McGowan do the yoga, it was totally something that required so much strength and so much power. And I love that. Again, seeing that like in our minds, we create this idea that, oh, it's just like, oh, it's such a pretty exercise, so much grace, whatever. No, it's all about your strength and your power, and it takes so much determination, so much effort. It's something so intense and so amazing, and I loved being able to really experience yoga and not experience what I thought yoga was. Like really experience it in the real way it was meant to, which I absolutely loved, and which also made me realize that like yoga I've done in the past, I've definitely been just looking at it and thinking about it the way that I believe in my mind. I've created this idea of what yoga is, and that's not really what it is. And archery, which I thought was so awesome. I was actually really, really excited about archery. That was like one of the things that really drew me to this immersion, is because I think archery is so beautiful. I think it's so amazing. I don't know. I think it's very, very cool. And whenever we first did it, it was a lot harder than I expected. Um, but I did get one arrow on the target, so that was really, really good. And again, the feeling of doing it, it wasn't like you said you taught us for like 20 minutes, we had to learn a class, whatever. It was like you showed us for like 10 minutes what to do, and then we just did it. And that is something that's like one of my biggest fears. And I realized that. So last year, whenever I ran track, I did high jump. And for me, the hardest thing was that I kept saying, like, how do I do it? How do I do it? And they were like, you run and you jump, basically. That's all you do. And I just couldn't get out of my head. I kept thinking about it. I was like, okay, I'm going to take 8 steps. Then I'm going to turn at the 5th step. And that's honestly, I think, why I was never that good at high jump, because I was so in my head about it. I had to count my steps. If I didn't count my steps, I would not jump. I would literally run to the bar and then just run away. I couldn't do it. And with the archery, I wasn't thinking about it in my head like, oh, I have to tilt this many degrees and I have to wait 3 seconds and do all this stuff. I was like, okay, I'm just going to try it. And I did, and it didn't work the first couple of times, but it did eventually. And that was a really, really nice. The best way to get something done is just do it. And that's what I feel like I've really taken away from this week. And I think that sounds so simple, but it's so hard to apply to your real life, and I'm really going to try my hardest to apply that to my real life. And talking about the Toshindo we did this week, we did 2 days of water. I missed a couple of the days of the water, but I was there for one of the days, and I feel like I'm a pretty water person. I kind of shy away, and I kind of am like, oh, okay, like, I don't know, I'm kind of like, I kind of back away from confrontation, and I kind of just like go with the flow, I guess. And I feel like that's why water felt really, really natural to me in the dojo, and I like that. I liked feeling like something came naturally to me in the dojo because, again, in my mind, I feel like Toshindo, kickboxing, that kind of stuff in my mind is like not something I should be comfortable at, or not something that I ever imagined myself being good at. So I liked feeling like being in the dojo felt natural, which was really, really nice. And the one day that we did fire, I actually was surprised by how much I loved it. I feel like it's all about instinct. It's all about being fast and being quick, and that just how do you react? Like that kind of like fight or flight response, which I think is so interesting on that. Like this week was a lot about taking what we think in reality and misconceptions and that kind of stuff and kind of dispelling them and learning and just kind of the whole just do it mantra. I feel like that's what this week was for me, the week where you just have to say, I'm going to do it and I'm going to do it well. And that's how I think I need to live my life, at least. I mean, I think that's really good for everyone, but I think for me personally, for me to stop doing stuff and just spending my time thinking about everything and just do it is what's going to be the most rewarding for me, because I have so many, after learning this in immersion, I've been thinking about past experiences, and I realized when I just sit down and do it, that's when things happen. Like for example, the fall dance, which was this fall, obviously. We had been talking about it for like 3 weeks. We were like, oh, we don't know if it's gonna happen. Nobody's buying tickets. What are we gonna do? We haven't planned anything. Blah 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 blah. And I literally said, okay, fine. I'm just gonna do it. So I right there made a list of things we needed. I made a list of people who would be willing to bring stuff. I went and met with people about the speakers. I made a playlist. I went out and bought decorations. I talked to people about moving curtains. We came in, and I made posters, and I just did it. I just did the things that needed to be done that we just been talking about for 3 weeks. And then once that happened, everything just started going. And then it happened, and it was successful, and I thought it was so good. And I was so proud of everyone who came and helped set up and did all that stuff, and everyone who stayed to help clean up and tear down. And I think that moment, that group of kids that was there with us setting up and tearing down, we were all so just determined to just do it. Let's just do it. Let's set up. Let's decorate. And I think that all the teachers who were there chaperoning could see that, and I hope they were, and I think that they were pretty impressed with us, because in my opinion, we did a really good job. Everybody worked. Everybody stayed after. A bunch of people came to help out before, and I was just so proud of everybody. And for me, that was like a really, really good moment that I was thinking about, and I was just so happy in that moment. And I was thinking about why did that moment turn out the way it did? And it was because I literally sat down and said, I'm just going to do it. I'm just going to go through it. I don't need to be a perfectionist. I just need to work hard, and I need to schedule and do whatever. And yeah. So in conclusion, what I've learned from this week is that you just got to do stuff. You got to stop making up things in your mind that aren't real, or try your hardest to live in the moment and try your hardest to see things for how they are instead of what you think they are in your mind. And I think that'll take you far.